Griveth, once home to the most wondrous kingdom the world had ever known, blasted to nothing in just a fortnight. It is here that the fiends of hell walk among us. It is here where all things die. Welcome to Griveth. Demon invaders roam the landscape and have conquered all. The world is a ravaged and wrathful wasteland where the old world lies buried beneath the blood and sand with its gods and its secrets. Water is fought over with blood and steel. Compatible with the 5th edition of the world's oldest fantasy role-playing game, this book contains all new character creation options, including all of the familiar classes with new aspects befitting the ravaged wastelands of Griveth, along with new backgrounds, subclasses, spells, feats, and so much more. New races will allow you to play as the cursed Ash Elves, the Forsaken Humans, the Primordial Incarnate, the Proud Orcs, the Reptilian Suri, or the Infernal-Blooded Tieflings. New game mechanics such as blood, grit, and effort give your games an intense focus on lethality and survival. Numerous roll tables full of ideas to help bring your games to life. Featuring incredible thematic art by Brandish Gilhelm of Runehammer Games, as well as Lloyd Collins. The people of Griveth are not heroes. In Griveth it is courage just to survive. Will you rise to face the tide of demons, or will you succumb to the hostile elements? Available now on DriveThruRPG.com.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by and for checking out this particular video. And for my usual followers and subscribers, thank you as well for taking your time today to see what's going on. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, you may not know that I've become a part of a group called the MUFFINS, and this is something that sort of developed all on its own. It involves myself and 2 other women. We have Eris from Eris Designs, as well as Kelly the Opera Geek. And basically, we just kind of get up to some crazy antics on Twitter with each other as well as our followers. If you're on Twitter and you have an account, just use the hashtag TerraMuffins and you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, these 2 women have become very good friends of mine, and we have been enjoying each other's company and just chatting with each other on a daily basis. Now, because of the camaraderie that we've developed and the fun we've been having with other people, Capri Creations took it upon himself to create this really cool design, which I'm going to show you right over here. And this is the design that has sort of started this whole thing that's going to be happening. I'm going to explain in a minute. But he was kind enough to create this for us, and he gave us clearance to use it for whatever we'd like to. However, none of us felt comfortable using it as a for-profit, for ourselves type of thing. That's where the idea came to me, where maybe we could do something that's more fundraiser based with it. And to get started, I wanted to go with a cause that is something that is rather close to home. I'm coming upon the 3-year anniversary of losing a close friend to domestic violence. Because of that, I thought it'd be appropriate that we use this particular design and the merchandise that we're offering for it as a means to raise funds to donate to a local charity in my area that helps women who have experienced domestic violence and are trying to get out and trying to improve their lives. So what we thought we'd do is share this with everyone, and from now through the month of October, all sales, the profits are going to be donated to this particular charity. I'm going to have all the information down in the link below so that for those who want to do the research can do the research and decide if this is a facility you feel you'd like to back as well. I completely respect it and I understand that you want to know where your money is going. I do the same thing. But if you would like to help us with this particular cause and support the awareness for domestic violence, please check out all the links down below. It has everything you'll need in there. If you have any questions, you can always find us on Twitter. I'll have all of our ats in the description as well. You can also email me at thecraftingmuse.email@gmail.com. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to watch this. I very much appreciate it. I hope you have a great day, and please consider getting yourself some Terra Muffin merchandise, and it's all for a good cause. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Sunless Citadel from Tales from the Yawning Portal, a Dungeons and Dragons mini campaign featuring some crafty individuals. And this guy cannot wait to get a Terra Muffin shirt in the mail. I ordered mine today already, so I can't wait to wear that on stream. Hopefully for next week's game, it'll come in time, but we'll see. Yeah, if you caught the pre-stream promo there, it's a wonderful cause, and I'll give V an opportunity to say a little bit more about it if she wants to. But it's a tremendous cause, and it will be featured here on this stream as long as the promotion is taking place. So, and in perpetuity on the YouTube channel. So, I am Jake from Mini Terrain Domain. I've already said that, but I'm saying it again. Repetition breeds memory, or something like that. This is a channel where I run a whole bunch of D&D games and other RPG systems. I also do crafting of dungeon terrain and things like that. This is our weekly Thursday campaign with these four individuals. I do want to say real quick, still tune in next week, even though we are going to be down our own Jeremy, who has an appearance in another campaign, but we are still going to be playing a one-shot, and somebody who is in our audience right now on the Twitch channel is going to be joining us in that number 4 slot for a special one-shot that will take place next week. And that is going to be DM Jason, JT D&D DM, shout out on the Twitch chat. And if you want to know how you can get in on games that I run on the channel here, follow me on Twitter. That's the best place, because I've been posting a lot of stuff. I cross-post to Twitter. Also in the description on the YouTube video, and we promote a lot, is the Absolute Tabletop Facebook group, the official group on Facebook, where a lot of these kind of games are formed. Because I love playing with so many people, meeting lots of new friends. So, I'm going to go around the table. I'm going to let each of these awesome players introduce themselves, tell a little bit about who they are playing, and if you want to plug something, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to do a quick recap, and then we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons! I'm a little excited, if you can't tell. It's been a week, let me tell you. So we're going to jump right up here into the corner with our human paladin, Griveth. Scotty.
Hey guys, DM Scotty here. Like I said, like you guys don't know, I like to make terrain. I have a channel called theDMsCraft. Just look it up, you'll find it. I love playing too, and I'm really enjoying playing my human paladin. His name is Griveth Langsmore, and he is in the depths now with his friends, and we just got frightened by some skeletons, so we'll see how that goes.
Excellent. Next up, our human druid, Vi. Megan.
Hello, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, and also, as you saw from the intro, which describes it way better than I could ever do, I wrote a book, setting supplement called The Ravaged Wasteland of Cryfoth. So pick a copy up today on DriveThruRPG. And yeah, I'm playing Vi, who is a druid who doesn't like being a druid. So we'll see how that goes. I'm having an absolute blast playing with everyone here. I'm excited to go into the next session.
Next up, and let's all just say a silent blessing over his dice tonight that they roll better than last week. Playing the Dwarf Barbarian Talmud, it's Jeremy.
Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. I run the YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions, where I do live plays and I talk about gaming and I show some of my crafts and things of that nature. I am also 1/3 of the podcast, The Dudes of Yore, that can also be found on YouTube with my buddies Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. Certainly go check it out. Yeah, I'm playing Talmud again. He may become Talmud the Unlucky. We'll see if the trend continues or not. But yeah, he's a dwarven barbarian, and I can't wait to crush some ish.
And finally, our resident Eladrin Bard. It's V.
Hello. So I am V of the Crafting Muse, which is a YouTube channel for crafting terrain and scatter and painting minis and game accessories and, you know, getting family and kids involved, all that lovely stuff wrapped into one package, if you will. And the promo, which first of all, Jake, thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really thank you for that. I appreciate it. Basically, we got a little bit of an early start, but October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we thought it'd be good to kind of extend it just a little bit. And basically, these are going to be available for the next 6 weeks. So get them ordered, get them going, and they are all going to a very good cause, to a very reputable charity in my area. So to anyone who does make those purchases, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. And I think I'll get back to my character, and that is Cantriel. And she is a bard, and she's not from around here, but she's getting to know some new people, and she's liking their company, and she's intrigued by a few of them. So we're going to see what happens with her as she gets to know them more.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. And I do want to say, please check out everybody's channels on YouTube. Check out the DMsCraft, Dice on Ice, the Crafting Muse, and Erasmus Expeditions. All of them put out fantastic content, both in crafting, gaming, or a little bit of both, what have you. So show them some love on their YouTube channels. Show everybody some love on Twitter. And somebody DM or send a carrier pigeon to Jeremy and tell him to get on Twitter. So one last kind of housekeeping thing before we get going. This was started unofficially last week, but now we have a hot new logo and graphic for the domain dice. Since people just insisted on giving us donations and bits and things like that, before I had a mechanic in place, we just made it up last week. I decided on the name Domain Dice, and I made a graphic. And as you can see, the players now have 3 domain dice, but they can disappear so quickly. But you can earn more. So, I'm going to give you your 3 back. So here's how you can contribute to the game. For every $5 in donations or 500 bits, which is Twitch specific, donations, also there's a donation bar on Twitch down low, and on YouTube it's the super chat. For every $5 or 500 bits, the players will get 1 domain die. That is a pool that all the players will pull from. They can use it to re-roll or to force me to re-roll. It's kind of like a hyped version of Inspiration. And you guys are not going to believe this. One of the instigators of the domain dice, our friend the Chameleon Fan, has already dropped 2 more domain dice in your laps. So I'm going to get rid of this 3. Huge shout out to Chameleon Fan. Ooh! If you remember, I said that was what I was going to call you last week. Karma, Chameleon. So you got two more re-rolls. Thank you, Chameleon. Thanks for the love. Love back. I'm going to keep an eye on. We'll keep the interruptions very minimal when donations come in. I will try to keep on top of those. But yeah, these, especially the way Talmud was rolling last week, they might burn through these domain dice pretty quickly. So I'm excited to be able to let you, the viewer, participate in the stream in this way. And we do greatly appreciate the donations. So, quick recap. They're in a dungeon. Let's go. All right. The Sunless Citadel, mysterious citadel that, due to some calamity caused by the dragon Asharladon, collapsed into the very earth, was swallowed up. 2 pressing missions are taking place right now. One is the mystery of the once a year, sometimes twice a year, magical apple, single apple that the goblins bring to the town of Oakhurst that will heal people, will cure diseases, but every time they plant it, somehow the saplings disappear. They think the goblins might be stealing them. So one mystery is to figure out what the heck are those little gobos up to. The other mystery is that one of the merchant leader of the town of Oakhurst is Carolyn Hucreely. And two of her children, Talgan and Sharwin, had taken up with an adventuring party and had both disappeared, apparently on a quest into the Sunless Citadel. So the party's kind of dealing with both of those things. They followed the goblins after the deal was brokered with the goblin emissary, and discovered the entrance to the Sunless Citadel. They descended down some stairs rather erratically, and almost died by stairs and rats. And then, not quite content with near death on the steps, Talmud said, "I'm going to go to the door," without checking for any kind of traps. But don't worry, guys, he found the trap. So they are off to a wonderful start. They got inside the very first room of the Citadel and found some mysteries. They found draconic runes with the Shaldan's name carved into the wall. And they found some dead goblins that had already been looted. And then the astute investigative eye of Vi uncovered a hidden room in which there were 3 individuals that had been dead a very, very long time. But that's not stopping them from rising up to face our party. And so I love starting sessions this way. Roll for initiative. I absolutely love it when I get to start a game with an immediate initiative roll. Thanks for the bits, Castle Mac Lydia, from our friend of the channel, Castle Mac Crew. Appreciate that. Alright. I suppose I should probably roll my dice for my monsters as well. Also, just as a reminder, yeah, I saw that, Megan. Just as a reminder, you guys should have leveled up to level 2. And you can use this opportunity in the game to sort of narratively explain your newfound abilities and things like that. So, just in case anybody's wondering how we're doing level up, it's kind of a milestone thing. So let me go ahead and get your initiatives. Griveth, what'd you get?
15.
Cantriel.
12.
Vi.
8.
Talmud.
Cross your fingers, don't jinx it. It's an 18.
And Vi, what is your dexterity modifier?
2.
Sorry, the one thing I didn't do in all the technical prep that I did I didn't get turned to my monster page. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Talmud, you are going to be first in the order. Griveth, you are second. Cantriel, you are third. Vi, you are fourth. And last is these 3 skeletons that are rising from this small room that, as a reminder, is 10 foot square. And you can see the rubble has collapsed in from when the tower fell, filling in the arrow slots. They were probably defensive archers that were just simply trapped when the Citadel crashed. So, Talmud, you are up. And you guys are all kind of standing in the doorway with these guys inside.
Yes, the first question that I have is, since leveling up, do you want me to add my new hit points to my total, or just to my...
It should be added to both your current... The hit points you rolled up should be added to your maximum and then add those on top of, because you had lost quite a few hit points.
I had.
Yeah, it's kind of you add them up. Yeah.
Cool. That works. Okay.
Good question.
So this door has opened. These skeletons have gotten to their feet, and red lights, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, their eyes began to glow with a deep red, almost like embers, just beginning like coals, long dead coals, just starting to rise up. And with that 300 bits added on top, you are up another domain die thanks to Castle Maclydia. Talmud, go ahead.
So Talmud already had Goethe out, his maul. And as he sees these skeletons start to animate and walk about, he kind of takes a half step back. Oh, no. You don't have to get up on my account. Everyone, I think we're going to have to deal with this slight problem. I'll go ahead and he kind of just turns around and readies his maul. He's going to step forward and attack the first one.
All right. Roll them bones.
Yes. It's turned around.
All right. This is a good start compared to last week. With that critical 1, starting with the critical 20.
I think my rolls last week might have added up to 20.
I don't think they did.
All right. How do you do crits again?
Okay, so the way I do crits is automatic maximum damage, then roll your dice one more time.
Okay, and the modifier is only added in once?
Yep, that's added as part of the max damage.
All right, so that's going to be 15 and 4 is 19 points of damage.
That is absolutely going to hit this first skeleton. So what kind of damage are you doing to this guy?
Bludgeoning.
And remind me, I'm so excited that my head is buzzing. Did you rage?
I did not.
Okay.
For a specific reason.
Okay.
I'm holding on to that.
I'm not going to play your character for you. I just wanted to make sure.
I appreciate it, though. Thank you. And it is bludgeoning damage. Sometimes it makes a difference with skeletons. Sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a...
So what was the total damage?
19.
So Talmud, what does it look like when you utterly destroy this first skeleton?
He brings his maul up over his head with 2 hands and straight down, and the skull just collapses down through the rib cage, through lodging itself kind of in the hole of this thing's pelvis before the whole thing just shatters under the weight of his maul.
As it shatters, there's this. It almost just immediately turns to dust. Is that all you're gonna do?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay where I'm at.
All right.
Maybe scoot to the side so somebody can get beside me if they can.
Yeah, it's a little bit tight in here, especially with the dwarf in the doorway. You kind of slide to the side to allow Griveth access. What you gonna do, Griveth?
All right. So, as a paladin, I'd come to Oakhurst and I had administered to the flock and I had helped the chapel and that kind of thing. But, I was a very low tiered, acolyte of Eldath. And when, I'm suddenly faced with this situation, the gods kind of administer the wisdom and the power gradually, because if a god is to open up to you and you're not initiated enough to handle that, it would probably kill you, because you can't hold all that glory at one time, right? You can't hold all that knowledge and that the workings of the universe at one time. So the gods kind of gradually grant you their power. And so when when I face this I'm in this situation suddenly. Eldath decides to grant me more power. Decides I'm ready for the next step of my paladinhood, and suddenly I feel the blessings kind of burn into my head, like burn into my brain. People call them spells. That is nonsense. The spells, they don't understand the blessings of the gods, and they call them spells and this kind of stuff. They're not spells. They're blessings directly from your god, and they're kind of they seem to be spells. I mean, you cast them, but the people don't understand that. These uninitiated don't understand this. So when this happens, when a god comes upon you and grants you power, it's something that's hard to describe. And for Griveth, he's damaged. He's very, he had a horrible, before he became a paladin, he had a horrible experience, and Eldath came to him, and Eldath has come again to him, and it's like a lover's embrace, like this gentle caress of power, is flowing into him, and he realizes what he must do, and he sees Talmud, smash this thing to smithereens, and he sees Talmud like step aside and kind of give him a glance, and maybe raise one was those huge bushy eyebrows, and so he steps into that hole that Talmud leaves for him. It's like almost like, hey, here you go, and he steps into that hole, and he is going to plug that hole to protect his friends, and he's going to bring his mace down on one of these other aberrations of nature.
Testify, Brother Griveth. I would be remiss if I did not grant you a point of inspiration for that incredible divine presentation.
Thank you. All right, here goes.
Yeah, roll it up.
Let's see if my inspiration continues. Oh, yes. 21.
Absolutely a hit.
All right, let me roll it. Oh, unfortunately, I only do 3 points of damage.
Again, it's very tight quarters, and Griveth, the human, stepping into this space. Talmud still kind of trying to keep in there, so you can't get your full swing in, but you're able to get it down, and you break a couple ribs on this skeleton as you bring your mace down.
That was very nice, Griffith. Maybe a little bit stronger next time.
It's a little tight in here.
So, in these now tight quarters in front of the door that you uncovered, Cantriel, it's your turn.
Is Griveth staying in the room?
He had interposed himself to protect his friends. Were you staying there, Scotty?
I think Griveth? I'm kind of in the doorway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, you and Talmud are completely blocking the doorway.
Right.
Okay, then I'm going to first put my hand on Vi, and I'm going to give her some bardic inspiration. And as I do it, I look at her and I sing, "World is on fire and no one can save it but you. Strange what inspire will make fearless people do." So she gets her bardic inspiration for her move. And then...
And you get a point of inspiration for
that. Thank you, darling. And then I was going to do Earth Tremor, but they're in front of me. So that's not going to work. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to do Vicious Mockery. Can that work on skeletons?
You can certainly try.
All right, let's give it a try and see. So I'm going to look at the two of them. I'm going to say, "It looks like the two of you put on a little weight lately, haven't you? You must be terribly weak from that."
And that's one target?
Yeah.
The one that Griveth hit, or the one that
might as well, because I'm assuming that one's closer, right?
In this small room, that's kind of a relative concept.
Well, in front of.
So, yeah, what is that? A wisdom save?
Yeah.
Let's see how it does. I'm going to use this guy. Let's see. That is a 3. So that skeleton fails. You actually see, as you say this to it, the skeleton just kind of, it's starting to rise with its, with this kind of rusted short sword, and it was just kind of going like this. And as you say this, it just kind of, its shoulder bones sag just a little bit. And what kind of damage is it taking?
It's 1d4 psychic damage, and he has a disadvantage on his next attack, or it.
So what's the actual damage number?
Damage number is 3.
So yeah, and what you see is as it kind of shoulder slump, you see a crack in its skull as you damage it psychically with this. You said it has disadvantage on its next attack.
Yep.
Okay. And it is now Vi.
So Vi has never seen anything like this before. And she is terrified. And she looks to Cantriel, and after her song, she can't deny she feels the power, but she just kind of nods. You can see the fear in her eyes from these skeletons, and she looks, and she is going to try and hit one of these skeletons between the two with her long staff, if she can. Just kind of shoulder that, like, between them.
Yeah, I see it.
And just like...
And you're a human, so you do tower over Talmud as well. I wouldn't say tower, but you're at least a head or two taller than Talmud.
Yeah, she just kind of shoulders in between them and... All right, let me get a crack at them.
All right, so are you going for the one that's been wounded or unwounded?
The one that has been wounded.
All right.
That is a 11 to hit.
Your staff, as you reach kind of almost shouldering into Griveth and you're using Talmud's shoulder almost like you're leaning on a pool table, a billiards table to take a shot, or what do they call it, snooker. As you reach in to take that shot, it goes straight in, right between the ribs of the skeleton, connecting with nothing. And then there's a scraping sound as you draw back, and the skeleton just kind of looks down and looks up. And you hear the bones rattle as the two remaining skeletons, one of them has his rusty short sword. The other one, all he has is a bow. And they're going to attack. Now, there's 3 of you immediately in the doorway that have presented yourself. So I'm going to roll and determine. I'm going to roll a d6 to determine who gets attacked first. That is going to be Talmud.
Hey Jake, can I ask a question?
Yes.
I have defensive ability, so do you allow me to use it after someone's hit, or do I have to say before they're attacked?
Remind me how defensive ability works.
Basically, I can impose disadvantage on attack for an ally.
If I remember correctly, that's a reaction, so you can do it at any time.
Okay, so even if you hit, I can say, "Oh, wait a minute," and make you reroll, right?
Yeah, it's basically flavor wise. It's like you see that the hit's going to happen,
Right.
and so you're reacting to interpose yourself. So yes,
Right.
I do allow that.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. So Talmud, you are the first, taking the first attack from the skelly with the sword, and he's just going to lunge at you with this. For a 21 to hit. Just close range, just sticking at you with this sword.
Okay, I'm going to use it. Reroll.
Okay, what are you using?
my shield, bringing up my shield to try to block the attack.
Okay, so that forces a reroll. That's how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, because it's a disadvantage.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, count as disadvantage.
That is a crit.
Oh.
But because it's disadvantage, I take the 17 instead.
Right.
So you are a little slow on your interposing, and the blade hits your shield, which still directs it right at Talmud, but away from his heart and towards the opposite side. As Talmud, you are going to take 8 points. Man, I keep rolling 6s against you, man. You're going to take 8 points of piercing damage as this sword cuts into you. The other skeleton has raised his bow, and now that Griveth has kind of interposed himself, it's going to take a shot at disadvantage because of the close range. It's taking a bow shot at Griveth. Both of them are 12s on the die, so that's going to be a 16 to hit Griveth, which does, with your shield up, it does not hit you. In the close quarters, there's just that kind of, and immediately, ping, as in this close room, this arrow bounces off your shield and kind of, Vi and Talmud, you both kind of hear it just whistle past your head before it clatters to the ground. And it is now Talmud's turn again.
So Talmud, kind of reeling from this strike, takes a step back and kind of looks down at where this rusty sword has cut him kind of across the right side of his abdomen. He takes some blood away from the wound and then just white knuckles down on Goethe and then swings Goethe around and attempts to strike this one that just stabbed him.
All right.
That's no bueno. I am going to use a domain dice.
All right. You are knocking it down from 6 to 5.
I'm going to re-roll that.
You re-roll it.
That's
and
another 20.
all right.
Well worth it.
It appears that Griveth's presence is granting the blessing of Eldeath on your party as your Goethe is redirected. So go ahead, roll damage and tell us. Well, what's your max damage before you even roll?
Without the roll for the crit, the max is 15.
Yeah, tell us how this turns into destroying this sword-wielding skeleton.
So, after taking this slash from the skeleton and taking away this blood, Talmud has kind of gripped down on Goethe, and in conjunction with white knuckling, he's gritted his teeth, and he feels this anger kind of starting to fester in his stomach. And he kind of just shakes his head a little. No, we're not going to do that. Not here, not in front of everyone. And he brings his maul around and crushes this thing, just sending bones scattering to the side, bouncing off of the interior stone of this little hideaway.
And as more bone powder just into the room, Cantriel, you watch as Talmud brings his maul up over his head, and Vi, you have to kind of lean backwards as this maul just is in your face, but Talmud has no spatial awareness of this, and then it slams down. But Cantriel, you can see that there's still one bow and arrow, short bow wielding skeleton in this tight space. What are you going to do?
I think I'm going to... Oh, he's still in front of me, isn't he?
All three of them are in front of you.
All three of them are. All right, so I'm pretty much standing behind a wall of flesh as well. So I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do the whole vicious mockery again to the last guy.
All right.
Why not? Let's give it a try. So she's going to look at him and she's going to narrow her eyes and say, "You look like you'd be quite good for a nice ripe stew now, don't you?"
And you watch as this skeleton begins to gnash its teeth. And as it does so, at least 3 or 4 of the teeth shatter and break out of its jaw as your vicious mockery cuts it literally to the bone. Ba-dum, bum, psh. Roll damage.
2.
But it does a little more than cause it to grind its teeth to dust. But you're right there, Vi. You're still right there between Talmud and Griveth. What are you going to do with this last skeleton?
She'll just turn to Talmud quickly and just... Do you mind watching where you're swinging that thing?
Oh, sorry. I thought killing the skeletons was the whole point.
Well, killing the skeletons would not be good if your friend also died.
Oh, my friend's Miles. Oh, I see. Yes, of course. Pardon me.
And she just kind of grumbles a little bit, and she's gonna try to just kind of poke this skeleton again with her quarterstaff.
All right.
Come on, you can do it. And again, as she goes to do that, I think maybe a noise or something kind of distracts her, and she misses.
It appears as though the bane of the dice has shifted to Megan for tonight. So that skeleton just kind of leans back as you shift forward with your staff again, just moving with it so it never actually connects. And it actually takes its bow and...
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
I think we skipped Griveth this round.
Did
Yeah,
we?
we did.
Oh,
Yeah, we
no! It appears as though this skeleton is going to wield its bow like a weapon, like a melee weapon. And as it does so, you realize, Griveth, you were so caught up in your ally's action that you hadn't taken your turn yet. And you can go ahead and do your turn. Sorry about that. Thank you,
that's
Jeremy,
all right.
for catching that.
No problem. No problem.
Go ahead and speak up if I skip over you.
I was going to, but you're already so into it. I'll just I just hold my action.
That's all right. We're narratively back on track.
Yeah. So basically what happened was, when I had to do that awkward, you were kind of crunched in there, and I had to do that awkward shield block, and it kind of went weird. It kind of knocked me off balance for a second, so I had to right myself, and that's why everybody ended up going before. It kind of fell back, and everybody got their jabs in before I righted myself. But I see this do I see the back of this? Is it like literally like a small alcove closet type thing, or does it go on?
It is literally, in fact, in the. It's basically a pocket room. There's no additional space. The positioning of it, if it's in the southeast corner, and you guys came from the east, and it's got the caved in arrow slits, so you know it faces outward. There's nowhere for it to go, so they're trapped in this small room.
Okay, so what Griveth is going to do is, before he even realizes the guy is going to use the bow for a weapon, he realizes the danger, and he's going to kind of bum rush it, like smash into it with his shield, like pin it to the wall while he smashes it into the stone wall, like basically bum rush it. But as he's doing this, he's also feeling a bit upset, actually. This is an abomination of like using these people's remains by this dark magic, and he's having to smash these people. These were people. He's having to smash these people and destroy their remains. He's seen so many horrible scenes of battle and just the horrible mutilations of the combatants, and he's sickened with like having to do this. But I mean, this is dark magic. This is it's like a necessary evil. This is what he has to do. but he is upset about this because he doesn't like desecrating these people's remains. So he's gonna run in, smash in, try to bash it with his mace, and that's what I'm doing.
All right, roll it up.
All right. Oh, crit! Ow!
The
Apparently
crits-
wasn't that upset.
Eldath sends his blessing through your mace and lets you know that you are on the right path. So, go ahead and tell us how you end this conflict on this final skeleton.
Okay, so he does end up pinning the skeleton to the wall, and its bony hands reach out from around his shield to try to grab him, and he just brings his morning star down on its head, and just pieces just go flying, like bouncing all over the room. And then the thing just kind of, once that happens, the magic animating in this that was in its head, the pinpoint eyes, just kind of, the magic goes out of it, just kind of shatters to the ground, and suddenly it's after all this craziness, suddenly it's just dead quiet.
The last sound that you hear is the sound of that skeleton as you slam it into the wall, smashing it to dust with your mace. You draw back away from it, and the bow that it was holding, now broken, collapses to the ground with a clatter. The remnants of the skeletons, mostly dust now, and whatever things they may have possessed, are all that remain in this room. What would you like to do?
There you go, Griveth. Very well done.
Thank you. He seems less than overjoyed about what he had to do.
And Talmud, unfortunately, is just oblivious to that fact.
Cantriel senses it, and she puts her hand on Griveth's shoulder. It's probably a little bit higher up.
Yeah.
It's something that had to be done. I know it's not the best thing, but we had no other choice.
Talmud is kind of using...
I know we had to.
Talmud is kind of using the bottom end of Goethe, kind of juxtaposed to that exchange, kind of moving the remains around, looking through them, kind of nonchalantly.
Oh, come on. Are you going to add insult to injury now?
What? There's no injury. They were bones.
Yes, but they were once someone's bones.
Yes, and then someone's bones stood up to attack us and tried to kill us.
So do you drink from your enemies' skulls?
Not today, no.
And as you say that, in the shaft of Goethe kind of pushes one of the quivers, because all three skeletons were armed with swords and bows and quivers. Your shaft just kind of shoves one of the quivers aside a little bit, and as it does so, you hear the clatter of a couple arrows still in it, and you hear a jingling of metal inside the quiver.
Kind of purposefully taps it a couple more times.
It definitely sounds like coins clinking together.
Leave it to the dwarf to find the coins. And he kind of bends down and picks up the quiver and kind of inspects what it might be.
So you basically, in looking through these, and I'm going to go ahead and determine these all at once, you find in all three quivers, you find a total of 15 gold pieces. Let's see, 10, 20, 15, and 25, 28 silver pieces. And in each quiver, once you kind of get your eyes on this coin, and you very quickly in this small space, all you have to do is turn them over and the coins clatter out. You notice that each quiver has a small compartment, almost like a golf bag. If anybody's familiar with golf, you have like different slots where you might keep some of your different clubs. There's a couple different slots, and each quiver has one special arrow that's set aside from all of the others that does not, they visually stand out because each one of these arrows does not appear to have aged like all the others.
Talmud, after collecting the coin and putting it with the other coin that we had already gotten so far, kind of pulls these arrows out and turns around and kind of holds them in his outstretched palm. Well, these are not really my specialty, but is there anyone here who might be able to use these arrows? They don't seem like they've suffered anything for wear. No? All right. He'll just kind of stuff them in his pack. I'll just keep them in here for now, and we can maybe sell them to somebody who can use them back in town. If that's okay.
Well, are any of the bows serviceable?
The 3 swords that are in here are all very rusty. One of the bows is broken, and the other 2 are, the wood is very rotten. It's amazing that the bows were even still strung. Jeremy, just for the sake of bookkeeping, go ahead and mark 3 +1 arrows in your inventory. I'm not, because this is a mini campaign and a dungeon crawl, I'm not going to, for simple items like this, I'm not going to require a short rest and spending an hour studying the item. It's very basic type of magic. So, all right. So as a reminder, outside of this room, and this is all you find in this room, the room that this was off of, that first tower that you entered, was a roughly 40-foot diameter round tower with pieces of broken stair and floor in the sky far above the gorge visible. There's a door to the southwest and a door to the northwest. And in between those 2 doors is the draconic runes where Cantriel was able to read them, that they said is Charladon. So, and then there's the door on the east wall that you came in from. So those are your choices.
Okay, Griveth asks the party for a moment, and as you kind of exit the room, he stays in the room and he reaches into his pack, and he pulls out a little shrine, and he puts it on the floor, and he kind of gathers the remains around the shrine, and he lights a little candle, and he does a little prayer for the deceased. He knows that their souls are no longer here. Their souls have passed on to wherever they have gone, but he just wants to give a little blessing and show respect for the dead. So he does a quick little ritual over the remains, and then departs with the rest of the group.
Excellent.
I think Talmud might have actually kind of watched from the doorway, just kind of resting on Girta, just kind of
cool.
curious.
Yeah, like what is he doing?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
All right, well, it seems as though we have 2 options. Well, 3, I suppose, if anyone wants to go back, but...
No, we're playing what's behind door number 1 or door number 2 at this point.
We've come this far. There's no going back.
Well, which one?
Did either of them seem to have a keyhole?
No. Both doors are iron banded wood.
Are they both aged about the same, if at all?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I suppose we probably should inspect them first. Sometimes a lesson is learned, and it's certainly not the mistake that I'd like to repeat.
Sounds like someone's gotten a little wiser in his experience.
Aye, I have, I think. Let me
Could I do
explain
the-
the grey hairs.
Could I do divine sense through the door?
Yeah, that's the one that lets you sense things within 60 feet.
Yeah.
Sorry, which door?
I will try the one closest to us first.
They're both equal distant apart. So northwest or southwest?
I'll do northwest.
Northwest. Let's see. That is going to be...
So you see me kind of lean against the door and kind of go into a slight meditation.
You reach out with your senses, letting the power of Eldath course through you, through your fingertips, as you almost get this with each heartbeat. Your senses reach through the door, through the stone, through halls. You can't quite sense the, like, it's not sonar. You can't sense the shapes of the stone, of the earth, of the inorganic material. Your senses are reaching out, trying to hone in on any form of undeath. And within the ranges of your senses, you find nothing.
Well, this way seems clear, friends. I don't, at least of those undead creatures, I don't know if we want to go want to try the safer way, or perhaps
your range, I should say your range was actually enough to extend, not just because it's kind of like it goes just in a like 360-degree range, so you don't sense anywhere, even to that southwestern door, to whatever's on the other side of that. You do not sense undeath either.
So yeah, I relay that to the party.
You can tell that just by touching the door.
It is a blessing from my goddess.
I see. Well, would have been handy to know before we opened the other door.
Well, I mean, someone was lightly impulsive. That
After all the kind of heavy stuff that he's kind of been through, he does let loose with a hearty laugh after when Talmud says that, because it's like he feels like he took himself a little too seriously there, and he does chuckle a bit.
Cantriel catches Griveth's eye and just kind of smirks back and nods, sort of like good to see him looking happy.
All right.
Yeah. So there's no difference between the doors, right?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go in one.
Well, you've already touched that one, so we know that it's probably not trapped. Otherwise, you would have fallen in a hole.
That's a point.
The next step would be opening it.
That's my vote.
The question is smashy smashy, or do we go in the polite way of things and just try to open it?
Well, step aside. I'll do it. Talmud will walk over and make a big show of reaching out, grabbing the latch and pushing it open.
You open the door, and on the other side, you find a long hallway, about 40 or 50 feet long, but only 10 feet wide. Devoid of all but the barest of rock debris and dust. At the very far end, you see a door, another wooden door, leading to the west. Near that end, you see a wooden door leading to the north, and another one immediately across from it leading to the south. What
Well,
would you like to do?
It looks like there's a long hallway with nothing really remarkable about it, except at the very end, I see 3 doors. So it sounds like this way may present some choices for us.
Well, probably should give each a look over first and see what comes of it.
Aye.
So you guys heading down the hall? What's your marching order?
I'm gonna hang in the back.
Talmud will go first. That's fine.
I'll go after Talmud.
Talmud, Griveth,
Third.
Vi, and Cantriel. And you're moving this way. Okay. Excellent. Hold on. There we go. Drop the cap to my pen. Okay.
Perhaps we should do some perception or investigation.
Yeah, that might be good.
All right. Well, Talmud, you're in the lead. So I'm gonna say, because it's a small space and everybody is looking around and kind of helping out, you can roll with advantage. Perception or investigation, your choice.
So with advantage, that's a 19 on the die for a total of 21 on perception.
More smooth dwarven walls. This entire, well, so far from everything you've seen architecturally, this citadel appears to have been carved by skilled, if not ancient, dwarven tools. And you see along these walls for the first 20 feet or so that you walk, it's just smooth stone. There are cracks in it. There's a bit of debris. The ceiling is about... actually, the ceilings are... In most spaces, the ceilings are about 15 feet high. Everything appears smooth, and it is dark. I think we had I just want to remember this for the humans, that I believe somebody had struck a torch. Okay. So you are able to see in the flickering light. No sign of trip or trap. Maybe being a bit cautious with your steps as you get near the door. But you find nothing to trip you up. And you arrive near the end of the hall, where the 2 doors are, one in the south and one in the north. And then one is about 10 feet away on the west. So which door would you like to check or go through or break or talk to?
Yeah, one of the reasons Talmud was taking so long to go down this hallway was because he was keeping an eye out, but also because he was remarking at the incredible dwarven construction of these walls and this ceiling. He's just kind of moving his hand kind of along this smoothly made wall. This work is just impeccable. You don't see work like this much anymore. You're all very, very lucky. And once we reach the end of the hall, he's going to kind of stop and look at the 3 doors to see if he can see any difference, any demarcation or anything like that on them.
Go ahead and give me a perception or investigation.
That is a 10.
While your eyes are incredibly skilled at discerning the nature of the stone, you see nothing significant or to differentiate either of these doors. They all appear to be of the same aged wood construction with pitted iron banding.
It's almost as though they're trying to confuse us.
I say we start with the one to the north and just move around, checking each door.
Counterclockwise?
Mhm.
I can't think of a better plan, so tick-tock, away we go.
All right, here we go. He kind of turns to the northern door and walks over to it, reaches out, and he'll open it.
All right. So you open up the door into a room that is 20 feet by 20 feet. And in this room, you find absolutely nothing. There is no decorations on the wall. There are no markings anywhere. This just appears to be an empty room.
Well,
Yes.
that was anticlimactic.
And this is a bit of ollie ollie oxen free and not much left.
You know, there was already one hidden door that we found. It's
It's true.
possible that they could have included more. What was the thing you found, Vai, that showed? Oh no, Talma doesn't know your name.
Good catch.
What was it that you found, Bear Lady, that showed where the door was before?
All right, I can't take this anymore of being called Bear Lady. Vi is my name.
Thank goodness I was about to tell him.
Do you want me to carve it into your arm or somewhere?
No, I'd really rather not. I don't wear armor, so you'd be talking about carving it into my skin, and I don't like that idea very much.
Right. Well, it was a stone. It just looked loose, like it didn't fit.
Well, maybe we should look around and see if we can spot another one.
4 people, 4 walls. Who wants north? Who wants south? Who wants east? Who wants west? I'll take west because it rhymes with best.
Okay. He'll turn to the north and head to the north one.
Vi will head to the east.
I'll do south.
Okay. Everybody go ahead and give me investigation or perception checks, as I am looking something up for no particular reason.
19 for me, for Griveth.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, that's not right. 21. I'm sorry.
Ooh, you upgraded.
I'm trained. Forgot my...
Sorry. This
my
is
proficiency.
my other monster manual fell apart, and that was the one that was tabbed.
Oh, did you have an old one?
Yeah, both of my books were first printings, so I got them to replace them. Okay, you guys begin to thoroughly check this room. Checking along the walls, Vi, you remember that it was almost by accident that you discovered the stone in the other room where you were searching and just kind of leaned on the wall and it shifted a bit. But you find no stones that move. The walls in this room are surprisingly clean. The floors are surprisingly clean. There's no debris anywhere. This room is just a plain, clear, clean room.
My metagamer doesn't like that.
Is it just me or just a wee bit too cleanly in here?
I didn't know that elves knew
Well-
that there was such a thing as too clean.
So, when you guys rolled your rolls, who rolled perception roll over investigation? All of you? What were your numbers again?
14.
14.
I got an 18.
21.
Talmud and Griveth, as you guys are searching around, everybody's looking, and you're all kind of coming to the same conclusion. And as Cantriel says, the room is clean, almost too clean. You both hear this kind of up above you. And if you look up, you at first see nothing 15 feet above you. And then you realize this room is about 20 feet tall. It's a little bit taller ceiling in this room. You realize on that northern wall, Talmud and Griveth, or Talmud, which wall did you go to?
Talmud went to the north wall.
So you are looking straight up, and you realize that there's a slight shimmer to the ceiling. Griveth, you see it at the same time, and it's actually the reason you actually get a little bit better look from your angle, as what should be your torchlight flickering off of the corners of the room. Instead, there's these weird, unnatural reflections about 10 feet away from the wall and the ceiling. And it has a slightly, almost too rigid of a cubic shape to it. Talmud, I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw as a gelatinous cube drops from the ceiling.
Get out of the room!
Do I possibly get advantage for noticing it?
I'm going to say yes, because you do see it.
Thank you.
I'll give you that advantage.
All right. Big +1. Here we go. That's going to be a 14 total.
I'm actually going to do an opposed dex here. Luckily, this thing has a -4 to its dex. So you just dodge out of the way as there's this sickening... And Cantriel and Vi, you had no idea this was there. All of a sudden, Talmud dodges out of the way, skittering back in the room, and just this wet, sickening sound as this shape, shimmering shape, hits the floor. You see it there now, but even as you see it, yes, thank you, Jason, splorch is the perfect word. It makes a splorch sound. that is now in
That's
now
technical.
canon.
That's canon.
That is now canon for the sound that gelatinous cubes make. It is a splorch. But what it's so there's nothing in this cube that it's almost your eyes just seem to slide off of it. And I'm gonna say everybody can roll a nature check to see if you even have a clue what this thing is. I know all of the players know exactly what it is.
Got a 22.
Got a 7.
Griveth
A 6.
and Talmud.
I am actually abstaining from rolling.
Cantriel, Griveth and Vi, you have no idea what this is. It just defies logic. Cantriel, you go ahead and tell us how it is that you know about these things. Where have you heard about these things? And go ahead and tell your party, if you wish to, what you guys are witnessing in front of you right now.
Well, my darlings, we have something that's known as a gelatinous cube in our presence. And it's something the cook from the one house I used to room at would tell us about after boiling some chicken bones up and getting this nice little slick left on top of her broths and stews. And she had an odd fascination with them. And I can tell you this, they are not fun to deal with in any way whatsoever. So be quick about it, but don't get too close because they tend to like to be a wee bit sticky.
Well, and you know that these, at least you've heard that they move very slowly. So, for the moment, you have one round to decide if you're going to attack it or get the hell out of Dodge.
Well, since there's nothing in this room, perhaps not being in here would be our best option.
I say we get out and bar the door.
Talmud, who's kind of on his butt on the ground, kind of is scooting away, kind of almost crab crawling, kind of turns over.
All right, so everybody's kind of shuffling out of the room. And do you close the door behind you then? So who's the last one out the door that closes it? Talmud? Yeah, okay. So yeah, as you get out, you close the door and you notice that it's kind of shimmering form is shifting a little bit, and then the rest of its form kind of follows behind it with that splorching sound. And after you close the door, a moment later, you see just the slightest little bit of almost what looks like a puddle at the base of the door. It looks like somebody spilled water and it's starting to spread under the door, but then it stops, and with a very subtle last splorch, it goes back into the room. All right, so that's one door down. Oh, hold on. Dang it. All right, sorry, 1 second. V, can you give me a sound check? Try again.
Hello, hello.
All right, I see what happened. I must have hit something. I'm just noticing in the chat. For some reason, they're only noticing Talmud. That last thing you said, there was no sound. And probably that last little bit. Basically, they got the hell out of Dodge. And go ahead and we'll go back to when the door closed, and Talmud, go ahead and re-say what you were saying. I have hotkeys enabled, and apparently if I type in a different window, it still activates the hotkeys. And one of a D is set to mute your guys' audio and unmute it. So apparently that's what I did. So that was only for a little bit of that room. Hopefully at the end there.
Oh,
so
man.
Apologies to you guys and to the audience. Everybody should be able to hear you guys now.
Okay, so Talmud, whenever he was backing out of the room quickly, trying to get away from the gelatinous cube, had opened up the wound that he sustained from the skeleton's rusty sword from before. So he kind of staggers back against the wall. Kind of leans a little, almost like he's going to sit down for a second.
Right, this needs to be taken care of right quick.
All
Muted.
right.
There you go.
Look what you did. I'll fix it. Just don't move. And Vi is actually going to take like various twigs and leaves, and there might even be a bone in there. You're not quite sure. And and she begins to just kind of cup them into her hands, and she kind of moves her hands around these items. And between her fingers, you can see there's this light starting to glow within these items that she's holding. And at first you see these browns and greens from the twigs and the bones, and then you see this brilliant red color. And then she removes her hand, and in it you see about 10 berries. All right. Now, just take these and eat them.
You're trying to get me to eat vegetables again.
These are not vegetables.
They come from plants, don't
And
they?
while he's trying to talk, she would just kind of shove them into his mouth, kind of getting this red juice everywhere.
Cantriel starts saying, "For a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down." You all right there, love?
Something in my teeth. These are terrible.
Just chew past the crunch.
Wait, are you happy? Oh,
Actually.
You would heal 10 hit points.
it feels a lot better.
See, you should listen to her.
Well, thank you, I think.
Lose 2 hit points for spitting them out.
That would be hysterical.
All right. 1 door down, 2 remain. 1 on the south wall and 1 on the west wall.
So, Cantriel, this strange blob that was in the room, do you think there are any others around? Do you think the other rooms contain these? Do they travel in groups? Is there any way to defeat these things?
It's not known that I heard them traveling in packs. It was more what they were that she'd go off about, I hate to say. Probably best we be a little bit more careful looking up, down, and all around as opposed to just side to side.
I think that's some great advice, yes. So that will be our thing. When we go in a room, we are going to look up.
Don't just clear left and right. Clear up and down. All right. What door's next?
Well, we said counterclockwise, so
The one that was east, was that east?
west.
West, I'm sorry. Okay, west. Yeah, that's... Do a perception check on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're all helping.
You want me to go?
Yeah, whoever's making the check can do it with advantage.
Okay. So 18.
This door, like the others, aged wood, pitted iron. There is perhaps just a little bit more shininess to the handle. Just something that shows that this door might be used a little bit more than others. That way that certain metals get when lots of hands touch them, they get a little bit shiny.
If that's the case, perhaps we should check the other door first.
Anyone else want to do the honors, or I could check again?
Elmwood sighs. I'll do it. And he goes over to the door and we'll try the handle. The
Cantriel
knob.
does like a bow.
This door, as you get closer, and you go to open it, you start to open the door, and you catch just it's not really a scent so much as just a feeling of moisture. like moisture in the air, a little bit of dampness. You open the door into a 10-foot by 10-foot square chamber carved into the stone. And in the middle of this room, there is an upright keg that is made of rusted iron. And there are some rusted metal pipes coming out of this keg and going down into the floor. On the southern wall of this chamber is a stone relief carved image that portrays a dragon-like fish swimming. So basically you've got a 10 by 10 room that has a rusted iron keg with pipes going into the floor and a carving of a dragon-like fish on the wall.
Does the keg look like it might have been used in any kind of brewing? Like, is that what we're looking at?
You'll have to take a closer look and investigate.
Okay, cool. Yeah, being a dwarf, I think he's gonna move into the room and try to check that out, because that's what Talmud thinks it is, at first glance at least.
All right, go ahead and take an investigation look at it.
Investigation, okay. That's probably not gonna do. That would be a 6 total.
There is that same sense of dampness and moisture coming from the keg, but nothing to indicate, at least to the best of your knowledge, whether or not it's been used in any kind of brewing or anything like that.
The symbol on the wall wouldn't be any kind of religious symbol, would it?
You can go ahead and make a religion check if you would like.
Okay. Oh, crit. Shoot.
So you don't recognize this as belonging to any particular deity, but given that you already know that this entire citadel somehow fell to the wrath of a Charladon, and you've already seen a Charladon's name carved into the wall, it seems pretty much on point that you're finding a dragon-type carving on the wall. So while it may not be a religious symbol to any known deities, it could perhaps be related to the dragon of Charladon.
So I'm kind of talking to the party. I'm like, but why is it a fish?
Was a Charladon a fish of any kind? I know it was a dragon, but was it like a dragon fish or?
Any knowledge that Cantriel has from her previous lore that she's learned of a Charladon, there's nothing that mentions any fish-like characteristics, just a standard dragon.
All I know is a dragon's a dragon. I never heard of fins or water or amphibious tendencies.
Well,
No.
I've seen pipes like this before somewhere. I think it was used in brewing. Maybe there's water in these pipes or in this drum over here, and he kind of like gives it a tap with his fist.
Yes.
Talmud, do you think it's any kind of clan symbol? Since dwarves seem to have made this citadel, do you think it could be any kind of dwarven symbol? Or clan symbol?
Talmud, as you reach over and tap the keg, and Griveth is starting to ask this question, you just kind of give it a... And it has a slight hollow metallic ring. And as Griveth is talking, Talmud, just because you're standing there right next to it, you kind of hear...
You guys We'll hear that. It's like a strange hissing noise.
Sounds almost like steam.
What?
Steam.
As Griveth says what, there's a burst of steam that shoots out of the top of this keg. Just, but it comes up in a swirl of that kind of whitish, grayish look of steam. But there's also this mixture of almost a bluish white swirl to it as two creatures emerge and hover above the in the room up above this, and they are small creatures that have very elongated snouts, wings on them, long bony fingers and claws, and they kind of, one of them you can just see as the clouds of cooling vapors of steam of something cold, like a frost. The other one appears to be made almost of steam itself. And I need you guys to roll for initiative. And every time, as they emerge, there's kind of a trickle of water that happens as this ice and steam creature kind of intertwine and combine and then split apart with a splash to be two separate creatures that I am going to roll for. All right. So... Griveth. You're muted.
13, sorry.
13. Cantriel.
23.
Vi.
9.
And Talmud.
A 12.
So the order is going to be Cantriel, Griveth, Talmud, Vi, and these creatures. All right, Cantriel, what do you do as these steam and ice imp-looking things emerge from the keg and stand there hovering?
I'm going to turn to Griveth, and I'm going to place my hand. Whoops! I'm going to hit my microphone. Ha! I'm going to place my hand on his arm and look him directly in the eye and tell him, "I have absolute faith in your abilities, and I know you're going to help us get through this moment." And I cast heroism on him.
Ooh, what does that do?
That, as long as he's willing. Are you willing, sir? It's going to imbue him with bravery, and until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened and gains temporary hit points equal to my spellcasting ability, which is 3. The modifier is 3, at the start of each of his turn. It lasts for a minute, and he'll lose any remaining hit points when the spell's done.
Fantastic. All right. So I assume that was an action to cast that. So
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
that is then going to bring us to Griveth. You're muted again, Scotty.
Sorry about that. So would I realize what these creatures are?
Go ahead and make a nature check.
All right. No, I wouldn't. I didn't roll a 1. But close. Okay. So, I mean, they look magical to me. Even not knowing what they are. So I kind of do a quick speak to the party real quick, like a sentence. I kind of like glance at everybody real quick and say, "Do we just want to leave?" And if everybody gives me that sign, that's where we'll head. Where I'll head. But if they don't, then I'll stay.
There's no other doors in this room, right?
Nope.
What say you? What say you?
No,
I'm
there are
fine
no
with
other
you.
doors.
I'm
Leave?
fine with leaving.
Leave?
Leave and hope they stay in?
Because I don't know if there's anything worth staying for, right?
Other than a picture of a fish.
And we've already let the 2 genies out of the keg.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm exiting the door, and I'm gonna try to. Okay. I'm gonna exit the door, and then I'm gonna kind of hold an action to slam the door as soon as the last one's out. Can I do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So as you all begin to back out of the room, Griveth, once everybody's clear of the room, just before you slam the door, you see these 2 creatures kind of give a towards you. There's a little bit of a spray of water, and then they kind of and they slam into each other, creating a sploosh, and you see water cascade down inside with the vague shapes of these things. And as it goes back into the keg, you just hear a and it kind of sounds like as it fades off in like a clinking of cooling pipes as the steam disappears back down into the keg. And you slam the door. That's 2 encounters you've shut the door on.
Well, now I know why that door is used so often.
Well, I would say that we've already run into some very strange creatures and magical things. What else can we expect from this unusual place full
Well,
of
let's
magic
just-
and danger?
Let's let that one out into the open and see what else is going to fall into our laps now.
One last door remains.
Well, hopefully something won't fall on our head, since that seems the way that most people go. All right.
So
Let us do it then.
yeah, Talmud will walk over to the last remaining door, kind of look at the rest of the party, and kind of, okay, here we go, and opens this door.
You open up the door into a much larger room than you've been in for the last several moments. Immediately, you can see that this room extends 30 feet across, 30 feet to the left, and another 40 feet to the right. Across the way, 30 plus feet, slightly at an angle across the room, you can see that there is a open doorway leading into a hallway. All around this room, there are crudely executed symbols and glyphs that have been scribed in green dye, decorating this large and irregularly shaped chamber. There is a large pit just kind of to the right a little bit, taking up most of the center of the room, that shows evidence of a recent fire. On the center wall, southern wall, slightly to your left, there is a metallic cage containing a gaping hole, and it stands empty. Just in front of that cage is a small wooden bench with a green cloth draped across it, and on it are several small objects. Near the wooden bench, between the cage and the bench, is a small, rotten-looking bedroll. The moldering blanket is heaped on this bedroll. And as you look at it, you can see it quiver slightly. And you hear And every time you hear this sound, there's a quivering to the blanket. And thanks to Chameleon Fam for another domain die for my sound effects. So there you guys go. Maybe I should take that one. But yeah, what are you guys going to do?
Somebody crying in here?
That's what I'm hearing.
Does it sound like a person or a goblin?
Well, we are looking for 2 individuals, are we not?
It's true.
That we are.
And I'd be crying if I was stuck in here too.
Especially if it's just one of us left.
True.
Talmud will start walking into the room, kind of cutting a wide berth around this heap of blankets until he can hopefully get an angle and see better.
There's really no way to go around it. To the left of the heap of blankets is the cage. To the right is the wooden table. Beyond, to the right of that is this huge fire pit.
Where's the writing located?
All over the place.
Ah.
The floors, the walls. It almost looks like a child was drawing runic symbols in green dye.
Cantriel, what does your knowledge tell you? This strange writing.
Well, if I could give it a slightly closer look, I might be able to figure something out with it.
Be careful, be careful.
There's enough of the runes all over every surface of the walls and floor in here that you can look in just about any direction, even from the doorway, and see these runes. And I'm not going to make you roll for this because you speak Draconic. You can read and write Draconic. And you recognize that there are Draconic runes that are painted everywhere. And basically it's the same phrase in bits and pieces that has been written everywhere. Here be dragons.
Well, in a nutshell, it's crying aside, essentially the writing saying, "Here be dragons," over and over and over again, rather obsessively.
We can't let this individual continue to suffer. We must see what vexes this poor soul.
Why is
I'm gonna call out, "Hello?" Well, that didn't help.
Vi is going to slowly approach with her quarterstaff extended in front of her and try and poke this mass of blanket,
I'm walking beside her.
ready to like jump back at a moment's notice.
So you just kind of creep up on it and just give it a poke. And you see from out of the moldering blanket, you see a small, taloned, red-scaled hand just kind of weakly push away the stick that's poking into it. Darned!
Vi would just kind of take the quarterstaff and just kind of maybe make it so that she can uncover the covers a little bit.
Good thinking. Lift the blanket.
You pull the blanket away from the form with the stick, and you see a small, vaguely humanoid figure. Its skin, red scales, its hands, talons, its feet, talons, a scaled tail curling almost defensively around its body, its shoulders hunched, an elongated draconic face, as this tiny whimpering kobold turns as you pull the blanket away and kind of skitters just a little bit away and kind of bangs up against the table, jarring the things on it a little bit, causing a little bit of a clatter as it who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Why are you here?
Better question yet. Who are you? And I'm speaking in Draconic to him.
I am Meepo.
Meatball.
Meepo.
Meatball. Can I call you Meatball? It'd be a fun little nickname for you.
What do you want from Meepo?
Nothing, Meatball. Except maybe some information you might have for us. What are you doing in here?
Our dragon. The clan's dragon. We lost it.
Cantriel's going to say, in common, they lost a dragon.
Oh, he's not speaking in Draconic.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
No, he's speaking so everybody, even though you were speaking in Draconic.
Okay.
How do you lose a dragon? Aren't they kind of big?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
And destructive?
Our dragon. Calstrix. These filthy goblins, they steal our dragon. Meepo was the dragon keeper, and they take it from Meepo.
Oh, Meepo, that's right. Disappointing. And how long ago did they take your dragon?
I don't even know anymore. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. You are all. Yes. You are adventurers, yes. Meepo has idea. Meepo have idea that just come to him.
Well, let's hear it.
You find Calstrix. You will find Calstrix. And you know what? If you promise to bring Calstrix back to us, Yusrael will make nice to you. Yes, Yusrael will make nice to you. You be friend to Kobold? Yes. You Meepo friend?
So you're asking us to find your dragon?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you find those filthy goblins that take our Calstrix, and you will take them. I will take you to Yusrael. Yes, I will take you to Yusrael. And you tell Yusrael, if you make nice, you tell Yusrael, and Yusrael will make nice to you and answer your questions. If you go to get Calstrix, our dragon, yes?
Cantriel, ask him about our charges.
Don't suppose maybe you could help us out a little bit too if we help you out. You haven't by any chance seen any human youths walking around? Maybe?
What is a youth?
Younger human individuals, my dear.
Meepo don't know, but Yusrael know. Yusrael would know. I'll take you to Yusrael and tell Yusrael you find Calstrix for us. Yes. You will come. You will come.
Let me ask my friends first because I don't speak for us all. But just give me one moment. And Cantriel turns on heel and looks at everyone else like, do we? What do we do with this?
Don't you think that we have a lot on our plate already? 2 children to find, not to mention the apple.
Yes, 2 children to find, the apple to find, 2 doors with interesting critters to fight, and someone offering us a guide.
It sounds like a war between these 2 groups, and I do not wish to get involved in that, but I will do as the group wishes.
What are the items on the table? on the green cloth.
So you're standing right next to this table, and you can see that this table seems to be arrayed the way it's placed in front of the cage. It almost has with the green cloth draped over it. It almost has the appearance of an altar of sorts. And on it, you see a couple of containers of green dye, a rough bristled paintbrush, 4 tiny jade figurines that look to be carved in the shape of dragons. And that is all.
Religion check?
Sure.
Uh, 13.
You get the sense that this is indeed an altar to whatever dragon, this Calstrix, that the kobolds must have had. It's arrayed in a... All right. Geeky Destro has just granted the party another domain die. Thank you for the bits. That is enough to put you guys up to 7 domain dice. I'm going to have to make some more graphics. Thank you, Geeky Destro, for contributing to the adventurers. Yeah, you, Griveth, you do get the sense that this was set up for the kobolds to worship the dragon. And it seems to kind of be positioned in front of this cage that looks like the bars have been broken away in part of it.
So do I think it was maybe a young dragon? Like a baby dragon?
You can investigate the cage a little bit closer.
Okay. Ooh, 19.
So you... looking closer at the cage, you can identify that there are a couple of scales actually on the floor of this cage. And they are white.
Erasmus.
And they actually have a... You don't necessarily have the knowledge of dragons and dragon ages per se, but just in general, seeing materials, and even since you've been here, you've seen the age of the different doors and the metals and things like that. These scales don't seem to have a lot of wear and age to them. They look newer, fresher, younger.
So why did they keep their charge in a cage? Also, Talmud, do you think the goblins mined up through the bottom of the cage and captured this dragon?
That's exactly where Talmud was headed, was to investigate this hole to see if it looked like it was something that burrowed out or if something
the hole is actually in the cage itself. It's like where the bars have been like bent and broken away. There's not a hole coming up from the floor.
Okay. And are the bars bent outward?
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, I did too.
They just seem to be like one bar's inward, one is outward, one is missing completely and lying on the floor.
Well, I'm not
As
sure.
you guys are looking, Meepo just kind of comes across and he's kind of hanging on the bars, kind of looking through the bars and across at you guys as he's just like, this is where Calstrix, where we kept Calstrix. Yes, this was Calstrix's. This was his home.
So you kept the dragon in the cage?
Where else would you keep a dragon?
Seems
Maybe-
kind of mean, don't you think?
I was going to say something far less confined might keep him in better humors. Did he break out or did they break into him?
Calstrix not break out. Goblins come and steal him. Goblins want Calstrix for themselves. That's why we go to Ustrail, and you tell Ustrail you're going to go get Calstrix from the goblins, and you will probably kill all the goblins, I am imagining, and then you will be friends with the kobolds, yes?
It is so cruel keeping an intelligent beast in a cage. Why would you do this if you worship this beast? Why would you keep it in the cage? Keeping even an animal in a cage is cruel. Why would you keep something that was so elegant as a dragon in a cage? Kind of angry.
Meepo seems to kind of cower a little bit as your ire seems to raise, and he just kind of looks up at you and says, "Your child might know that. I just watch over the dragon."
We might have a case of shooting the messenger in this situation. I don't think it's been his call to keep the dragon cooped up as it was.
I see.
When Cantriel mentioned shooting the messenger, Talmud is already kind of shaking his head and picking up his maul as if to go to execute this kobold. And then he realizes that's not what she was talking about and kind of very quickly lowers the hammer.
Well, at least we know you're quick on the draw.
Meepo has absolutely he completely misses this. He has no sense of what you were about to do.
All right, boils down to this. We have Meepo saying he'll guide us around. At least we can get a better bearing of this place if we wanted. Or we can say, no, thank you, find your own dragon. Let's go find our two wee ones and get on our way. Which way would you prefer to go?
On one hand, who knows if we can trust them to lead us somewhere not okay. But on the other, if we don't, we could make another enemy in this deep, dark, creepy thing.
Meepo can guarantee your safety to Yusdrael. And if you make nice with Yusdrael, no kobolds will hurt you.
Your name was Meepo. Is that correct?
Meepo!
Yes. Do you happen to know anything about a very shiny red apple?
A shiny red apple? Meepo doesn't even know what an apple is. But
It's a
Yusdrael might.
This Strahll better know a lot. You're talking
Oh,
him up.
Yusdrael knows everything.
I see.
You might have a slight case of hero worship, too.
I can't believe that I'm actually saying this aloud, but take us to your leader.
Griveth, what's your thoughts?
I have said my piece. I do not wish to get between these two tribes, but I will do as the group wishes.
Meepo seems to kind of sense a consensus coming and kind of moves a few feet away towards that hallway on the western wall and just says,
You come to meet Yusdrael, yes? And tell Yusdrael you make nice and get our dragon, yes? Come.
and real quick before you decide to actually go, there are, besides this hallway, there are 5 doors in this room, including the one you came through. There is a door to the north. On the north end, there are 2 doors, one on the east wall in the corner and one on the west wall across from this large fire pit that is just to your guys's beyond on the other side of the table. On the southwestern corner of the room, there is another door, and then on that western wall in that same southern end is another door. But Meepo seems to be, it's like an archway that is open with no door.
Before we leave, what's going on with these doors? Meepo.
You're asking Meepo about the doors?
Yep.
Meepo says, he points to the southernmost doors.
Oh, Yes, those doors. Let's see. This door here is. Oh, this is where we keep all the food to feed the Calstrix. And in that southernmost corner, you see it's actually the door is split in half, and he kind of opens the top half of the door, and you can hear just this flurry of motion, and you hear like skittering and squeaks, and a putrid smell of rotting garbage kind of comes into the room from there. And then he kind of smiles. He reaches in and he grabs a squirming rat and just holds it out. It's kind of like this, and he's like, this is where we keep the dragon chow. And then he just tosses it in and shuts the door. This room, there is nothing in this room. He opens up the door real quick and kind of looks. Yep, this is the empty room. And up there is, and he points to the one on to the west wall. That is where the kobold guards are. And then he points to the far one on the northeastern wall. That leads to the goblin side.
Leads to the goblin side, you said?
Yes, the filthy, stinking goblins.
So you've split the temple.
Well, they live on the other side, and we live here. It's a very big temple. But we don't want them here.
So your people have an arrangement with the goblins.
No. What? We have nothing with the goblins, except they have our dragon.
Sounds like we have some territory issues.
Come, Yustra will tell you everything. Meepo just got the dragon. I don't know stuff.
Talmud would like to take one of his javelins, take the edge of it, and kind of mark the door that he pointed as to the one that heads towards the goblin side of things.
Sure. Come, we go meet Yustra.
Is there any kind of other light in here besides the torch?
Ouch. No, just the light of your torch.
Well, we know we have both kobolds and goblins in the Citadel. Not exactly on the best of terms. We already need to find the goblins. Do we want to anger the kobold on top of it?
No, I say follow this little runt.
I'm thinking the same thing.
It turns out that he's lying to us, and we're heading into a trap. I can hit him with Gerta, can't I?
Yes.
Yes.
You can string him up from many uncomfortable body parts.
And you
Talmud
can
kind of
keep the
leans
teeth
close-
too if you want.
Talmud kind of leans close to Meepo with like kind of a knowing expression on his face.
Meepo mimics the look you just gave him.
I lean over to Vi. I think I'm kind of starting to like Meepo a little bit.
Okay, you come down, and I take you to Yustra.
And then he leans through the archway, and he puts a hand up to his mouth, and he says,
Hiraka Draka!
which Cantriel, you recognize, is Draconic for ticklecorn. And he says it again.
Hiraka Draka! Okay, they know not to hurt you. Come.
I'm sorry, did you say tickle corn?
Hiraka Draka.
Okay.
It's like a safe word.
Tickle corn.
I tell them that you are friends. It is okay. You are with Meepo, so they would not attack you. Probably.
Probably. All right, Meatball, lead the way.
Draka!
and he begins to walk. And Meepo leads you through the archway into a hallway that is about 80 feet long. As you, just within the first 15 feet, you pass another 10-foot hallway to the north to your right. You then pass a room, or excuse me, a wall with doors on the left and right in a couple places. At the end of this hall, the hallway turns to the right, to the north. It's 10 feet long. Emerging into a room that is 20 feet across from you, but the entire room is about 100 feet long. And in this room, sort of to your right is where the bulk of the length of the room is. You see a double row of relief carved marble columns extending down on either side with worn carvings depicting intertwining dragons wrapped around these columns, twining up towards the top. Inside this hall, you see 3 tough-looking kobolds patrolling. They give you a look. They give Meepo a look. Meepo just looks at them, puffs out his chest, and says, "Raka Draka!" And the kobolds kind of eye you. They stop their marching around. To the left is where Meepo takes you. It is in just 20 feet to your left is the end of this long hall. And what you see is a short stone throne near the west wall, constructed of these pieces of masonry that look like they may have come from all over the Citadel and have been stacked up here and are forming a sort of throne. And against the wall is actually an altar, and next to it is this throne. On the altar are a variety of small items. On the throne next to the altar, or in front of the altar, it seems to be comprised, again, of fallen masonry that's been positioned to look like a chair. At the top of this piece of masonry is a carving of a rearing dragon. In the jaws, the open jaws of this carving of this dragon is a metallic key. Seated on the throne is another red-scaled kobold wearing white tattered robes. Meepo approaches the throne and the figure on the throne and says, "Rakadaka!"
Meepo, what have you brought before your trial? Meepo has found adventurers, and they are going to make nice, and they are going to find Calstrix for us and get Calstrix back from the goblins. Tell her!
And then he kind of steps to the side, and he looks past you over at the kobold guards and just kind of says, "Rakadraka. Rakadraka."
Who are you? And why has Meepo brought you before your trial?
He's speaking in Draconic, right? Or is he common?
She is speaking in common.
Okay. Cantriel is gonna walk up slightly and do a flourishing bow. Our wee guide here has brought us down here after we've discovered that it seems the goblins have taken your dragon, and it just so happens that we are also looking to find out some things related to these goblins as well. So we seem to have a mutual interest in a mutual party.
What do you want to know about the goblins? The filthy goblins.
Well, it seems that they're staying on the other half of the citadel, from what Meepo's been saying.
The goblins are here in the citadel. They serve Belak. They are his slaves.
Would you mind sharing who this Belak is?
Belak the outcast. He grows a fruit that he gives to the goblins. What they do with it, we do not know. But they are his servants. He uses them for his own gain.
So he's not a goblin himself.
Belak is a human.
A human. She kind of just arches her brow and looks over at everyone else. And might this fruit be round and red?
It is most times it is a round and red and very bright. But sometimes in the winter months it is a white.
Do they have many of these fruit trees, or just a one?
Yusrael does not care about the fruit or the tree. Yusrael cares only about Calstrix. Meepo say you bring Calstrix back to us.
Well, we can look into it for you. But perhaps we should come to an agreement about that first.
If you bring us Calstrix, from which the beauty goblins have stolen from us, Yusrael will reward you. And you can take Meepo with you as a guide.
Why did you keep the dragon in a cage?
Cantriel just puts her hand quickly over to Griveth. He's a little hungry right now, and he tends to get angry at the same time. Ever heard hangry before? It's not a good thing. We got to make sure we get some rations in his tummy right now.
There's a moment where you hear the kobolds behind you shifting uncomfortably as they ready their weapons. Yusdrael grips the side of her makeshift throne and kind of hisses at you. And Meepo is just very...
I apologize for my friend's outburst. As I said, he's not quite himself right now. But you're telling us that if we take Meepo with us and help find your missing dragon that the goblins have absconded with, we return him and Meepo, and we might have some fruits for our own labors.
What? You make a lot of words.
I'm a bard, it's what I do.
Look.
If you want more succinct, I can have the little man talk to you if you prefer.
Look. You bring us a dragon, and I will reward you.
Fair enough.
Don't make me question why you are even in our citadel.
Cantriel looks over and... Well?
I have a feeling that we've overstayed our welcome. I suggest we take Meepo and we go.
If he's going to lead us to the goblins, at least it's in the right direction.
And we can
Gentlemen?
always put him off the side if he gets to it.
That's true. Gentlemen?
I certainly would rather prefer putting some distance between this place. Exercise my feet instead of my mouth, for once.
Then Cantriel's going to turn and look Griveth directly in the eye. I know you have your reservations, but right now we need to look towards the greater good of what it is we're trying to do.
It seems our best option, but I will not say that I will not free this dragon.
And I'm not saying I may not help you in that endeavor, but right now this is what's behooving us the best.
Go and take Meepo with you. Bring Calstrix back, so that we may put it in its cage where it belongs, so that we can worship it.
She turns back around and gives a very large, winning smile. Sounds perfectly reasonable to me. Thank you very much for loaning us one of your people to guide us along the way.
If she was reasonable, the least she could have done is said please.
Something tells me she's not used to having to say such, sir.
I think you're right. Talmud kind of is already moving back away, the direction they came.
You go. You come. Do not come back without our dragon. Meepo, you go with them. Yes, I will. Meepo will go with them and will keep them safe and will bring Calstrix back.
And as you turn to leave, Meepo begins to guide you back the way you came. Eustrail mutters something to the 3 kobold guards.
Ah, they snuck there, don't you look at the yalla.
And Cantriel, as you're leaving, you catch.
It would be such a shame if Meepo were to be lost with the adventurers.
And then, slightly louder so that you can all hear, Eustrail just gives kind of a dismissive motion and says,
Raka-draka, go. We'll be waiting.
And I'm just want to use this opportunity to say another huge thank you to Chameleon Fam, who for the Meeple and Eustrail voices has awarded, actually for this one, I added wrong, because that was a $10 donation. So you guys are at 9 domain dice. So I better come up with some reasons for you to use those. So Meepo actually guides you all the way back to where you came from, the room painted with the draconic runes, to that very door that you marked with the tip of a spear or javelin, Talmud. And it is through this door that Meepo says,
we will go through here to the goblin territory.
And leads you, opens the door without any pretense into a narrow hallway 10 feet wide by about 20 feet long. It curves to the south, another 20 feet, but only 5 feet wide. Curves again to the east, 10 feet wide, 40 feet long, ending with a single door on the northernmost wall. Meepo opens this door cautiously. And then opens it further and steps in. It is another large, squarish, empty room. And your inevitable cautious looks to the ceiling. You do not see any shimmering, gelatinous anything. Meepo turns to you and says,
we must be very careful now. We are no longer in the world of the kobolds.
He taps the door.
Here be goblins.
And that is where we are going to end tonight's session. Whew. I just happened to glance at the clock to see that we were coming up on 2.5 hours. That's what I love about these sessions. They are so much fun. I love Meepo and Yustral. I've been thrashing my throat for 3 weeks coming up with their characterizations, and then didn't do hardly any of what I came up with and just made something up on the fly. So I also just want to say a huge thank you to our audience tonight, who has really stepped up. Bits were being tossed out on the Twitch side. Our #1 chameleon fam, Karma Chameleon over here, is keeping you guys flush with domain dice. And we love it. We appreciate the love you're showing to the channel, and to the show. You know, if it wasn't for these 4 players, it would just be me on the stream talking to myself. And Megan can tell you from experience, when I do solo crafting streams, I sometimes just talk to myself and do voices and things like that. So it's a lot more fun with people to play with. So, yeah, I'm absolutely loving the audience participation. We're going to roll out in time. We're going to roll out some new things on that respect. But I'm going to go around, and I am going to give each of you a chance to give your final thoughts on this session, session 3, Skeletons in the Closet. And go ahead and plug what you want to plug before we get out of here for the week. Oh, and I do want to say this real quick as a reminder. We said it at the top of the show. Next week, we are all going to be here except for Jeremy. There will be a one-shot here with DM Jason from the chat. Is actually going to be our 4th player in a special one-shot called Salvage Operation. Originally written as a 4th edition one-shot adventure by Mike Merles, appearing in Dungeon Magazine number 123. And this is the first the players are hearing about this. I'm also going to season it just a little bit with some flavorings from the latest Drift Chapel, Shadows over Drift Chapel playtest from the Kickstarter coming from Absolute Tabletop. So it's going to be the adventure I planned, but we're going to throw in some grimdark flavoring and some madness. We're going to mix some Call of Cthulhu-esque stuff with our D&D next week, as Jeremy is going to be playing in one of his monthly campaigns. So before we get out of here and everybody disappears, we are going to go around the horn in reverse order. Go ahead and promote what you want to promote and say your thoughts on this session, V.
Well, I'm V, and if you haven't picked up on it yet, I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse, so feel free to jump on over there if you're looking for different bits of terrain and scatter and mini painting and other fun things going along with that. And then if you missed the beginning of this particular episode, Jake was very kind to share this fundraiser that I'm doing right now. It is raising money to help a local group in my area, basically raising awareness for domestic violence. October is the month for the awareness time. However, we decided to get a little early start on it. So you can check back. I'll jump into the chat on Twitch at least and put it on there. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I have a video with all the important links for that. So that's pretty much it for me. And in terms of this game, I had a great time exploring with this one and running into things and doing the nope technique. That was actually quite fun. And I think I'm going to get a little soft spot for Meatball.
Meatball. I love it. Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy. I have the YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions, where I do live plays and talk about games and do crafting and things of that nature. I'm also 1/3 of the Dudes of Yore podcast that can be found on YouTube with my buddies Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. Yeah, this is just such a fun group and such a responsive and fantastic audience to be a part of this. I'm incredibly thankful and very, very, very excited every time this comes up, especially this week. I had a horrid week at work so far, and this was just the tonic that I needed, not the tonic that Vi tried to give me. Much, much more tolerable. No, I'm having a blast with this, Jake. So letting me be a part of this is a huge, huge gift. So thank you.
And I do want to jump back and say real quick, because I see V dropping the link in the Twitch chat. On the YouTube side, all of the links that V mentions in the video that I ran at the promo are also in the description of this video on YouTube, and will be every time that promo runs. And Jeremy, it's not me letting you guys, I feel I'm the one that's privileged to have you as the players at my table. So before you can refute that claim, we're going to jump over to Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, and I encourage people to look there within the next 2 weeks, because there will be something there, a video that won't be a live play. So look out for that.
Oh, exciting.
Other than that, this, like what everyone else is saying, this is an awesome, really fun group. It's has the best of both worlds, like the funness of the beer and pretzels, but also the seriousness of the role playing and getting into it, which is such a cool thing to experience. So can't wait for next session.
Thank you, Megan. And finally, Mr. Scotty.
Hey guys, I'm DM Scotty of the DMsCraft, and if you want to do crafting terrain for your videos, tiles, cheap tiles, I have hundreds of videos. So yeah, it's a little daunting at this point in time, but just about anything you're looking for you can find. So yeah, type in the browser, you know, torches or furniture or whatever, you'll probably find it on my channel. Yeah, this game has been so great. You know, it's like I'm really enjoying his paladin. You know, I'm trying to get in his head, and I'm trying to you know think about you know what his experience, you know, his broken background and his experience, his rebirth, and you know how that fits into his life, and actually being like blessed by a god. Like how does that feel? You know, it's like it's more than just, oh, I smite my weapon and I smack something with it. You know, I want to bring more to it than just, you know, oh, I'm a superhero powers. You know, I want to bring more to it than that. So it's been a lot of fun. These guys have been playing along, and that's really great. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, I think the characters are so fun. Like they just really have a rapport, and you know, we fell into this group, and it's a great group dynamic. And yeah, and Jake, you're just knocking it out of the park as far as like voices, you know, and just this kobold, you know, just so fun. And I love that we're really not fighting a lot. Like we're like doing other stuff besides fighting. It's not just all, you know, it's not just a dungeon crawler fighting. Like we're negotiating with these things, and just, okay, we're done with that, and getting closing the door, you know, kind of thing. So you know, that's fun. Like we're low level characters. We're not like gods. We're not like, we don't have all these millions, you know, 10 trillion hit points and all these powers. So it's really fun to play, you know, low level characters as well as high level characters too. But this has been great, and thank you so much, Jake, for hosting this for us.
Well, thank you all for being a part of this campaign. You've all touched on this particular mini campaign. I think we all knew we were going to have some fun playing D&D for a few weeks, but after that first session, there was this harmony that just happened, and it's not just the five of us. From that first episode, it was a harmony between the five of us and the audience. I've never had run a game where the audience is such an integral part, and it's a weird thing that I've played in games that are more beer and pretzel than game, and I've played in some really heavy RP very intense situations where the jokes happen only almost exclusively in the side chat. You know, we keep it serious on the stream. And I love each end of that spectrum. This game seems to have found that perfect balance of the beer and pretzel fun, the table talk, incorporating the audience, letting them be a part of it, and acknowledging them. Plus, you guys are RPing the crap out of your characters and taking the time to think about them, not just, oh, time to roll some dice and I do, you know, I'm a DPS fighter that does this. This game just has this. It's just awesome. So I am just gonna each week love the dynamic, and we're just gonna ride along with it until we're through and see if we can't keep it going for a little while after that. We know this campaign has a finite life cycle to it, in part because it is a lot to ask of everybody to give up a Thursday every week. Some people are more able to do that than others. So I appreciate that too from a time point of view. That said, we're not saying we're done in 2 weeks. We're going to be going for a few more weeks. And then we'll see where we go from there. But I'm absolutely loving this. You guys are bringing, 100% every time. And I thank you from that. This is what D&D and what I want MTD to be, is inclusivity, friends, playing the make-believe together, and just having a blast. So as I said at the beginning of the show, go on YouTube, search out the DMsCraft. What chances are, if you look any crafting up on YouTube, Scotty's videos are going to come up. When he said hundreds, he meant it. I think at last count there's 600-700 videos. Going up there, not too much longer, and you'll be able to say over 1,000 videos. And V as well, having recently crossed that 4,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. But also Megan and Jeremy on their channels. Their channels are relatively fledgling, but they have phenomenal content on their channels. Jeremy just started releasing crafting videos on his channel. And you are going to find, if you go to the Dice on Ice channel, you are going to find some of the most immersive, RP heavy, and quite frankly, scary as all get out games. Megan runs a heck of a fear-based horror game. I have had the honor of playing in several of those. So please do check out all of their channels. Follow people on Twitch to see what we're up to. Follow the MTD channel here on Twitch. Hit that little heart. Use your free Twitch Prime thing to subscribe, or just subscribe. Same thing on YouTube. Hit that little bell down in the corner. That'll tell you every time we go on with shows. Because last little bit of announcements before we get out of here. We've got this campaign on Sunday nights. Megan is also one of my players in we're going to be doing episode 28 this Sunday of our Cult of Personality Tomb of Annihilation weekly campaign. And starting October 1st, also with Megan as one of the players, but also with V recently added to our lineup, Mike the Piper, who is one of the players in the Cult campaign, will be the dungeon master in this game, and I will be a player, along with my friend Dwight, who some of you may recognize from the Bastards of Bastion Harbinger sci-fi campaign this summer, as we embark upon Waterdeep Dragon Heist, a campaign we are calling All That Glitters. And the intent is for this to be a level 1 through 20 Dragon Heist into the mountains of what is it called? the next book, the Mad Mage something
to do with like the Mad Wizard, Mad Mage.
Yeah, the next book. So we're going to be doing that for a long time, and we are going to have just so much fun with that. And that is going to also be a weekly campaign starting on Monday, October 1st, as well as all kinds of other great stuff. Thank you, Initiative Coffee Company, Mountain of the Mad Mage. That is a mouthful, man. All right, we're going to get out of here. I'm Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and if you're new here, you're going to learn this is how we end the show. But if you're used to this, go ahead and say it with me as I bid you all a